hallway.
Yes, sir.
With a special guest.
We still doing
Still doing special guests, man. Still doing special guests. As always, hand sanitizer. Definitely washed our hands, being corona free as much as possible. Not exactly practicing social distancing, but this is why we are through the hard way, man. We stick it to the rooter to the tutor, from the couch to the studio. It don't matter where we go, we giving it to you. It's through the hard way. But another week. We got something special for y'all. Before we go into the brackets, I know we did some scouring across the social media platform. Shout out to all our participants. Phil, Brandon, John. I don't know if you want to have some people in there. CJ, Amiri, Tom.
I got some of my teammates, Dave.
Some shout outs, man.
Dave.
Shout out to Dave.
My boy Kane.
Beebs.
My boy Jamal, who was definitely imparted to those conversations with the Chiefs.
Okay.
He threw his input in. So we got some folk, man.
Yeah, man. So shout out to all the good people out there. We are looking to do more things like this. So if you like what you're hearing, like what you're seeing, please be supportive and, just interact with us. But before we go into that, we got some NBA updates. We got our terminal NBA follower, head basketball purist, John. You wanna kick us off with these updates? What we got going on in the world of NBA?
Oh man, there's a lot going on in the world of NBA. Playoffs.
Can't even play a game.
Can't even play a game. Talking about playoffs. Can't even play a game. So there's been some speculation. Everybody's missing the NBA, and the speculation is, what is the NBA doing? Will it be a season? Will there be a playoff? So a couple of things that's been going around the air is, one, they want to have the NBA have teams in 2 select cities and play in that area with no fans. Or two, they can go to a select country and bring their families there. Some people are saying the Bahamas. 3,
I could imagine the Banana Boat Boys pushing the Bahamas all day. Bronny and CP. Yeah, let's go to the Bahamas.
Yeah. And 3, there is a rumor going around saying that they might just go straight into the playoffs without any playing games. Which one do you guys feel like is the best option for the NBA? None of these timetables are saying there's not going to be any basketball. That's a good thing, right? So, what's the best thing?
I think it's best for me. I think it's best to wait and see. I mean, we're not 100% sure where this pandemic, whatever the case may be right now. We're not sure where it's leading us, where it's leading to. We don't want to put more people in danger, as we saw already. NBA stardom does not make you immune to anything that is going on right now.
At all.
And I think it also plays into the capitalism behind, or the capital, not even necessarily capitalism, but the capital behind the NBA and how they're struggling, just like how everyone else is struggling when they're expected to make, way more money than the average male or female. So they're trying to find ways to keep the brand hot, keep the spark going, and also trying to find ways to, if possible, to make money. I think right now, and for everyone else, it's just important to make sure that safety and the making sure that we don't spread things any further than we've already done as humans. I think that's more important than, as much as we want to see basketball, as much as we love sports, I think that's most important right now. They have to keep that in the forefront, and if they don't, then people are just not going to go with it, period.
Yeah. What do you think, CJ?
I'm siding with Tariq on this one. I think they should see the full extent of this whole virus thing that's going on. To be biased, I would like to see some basketball. I want to see some basketball right now. I'm tired of seeing the NBA Western Conference Finals from 1979. I want to see some basketball from 2020 and on. But, safety is at hand. And any possible way, I'm always up for it, but you always got to include safety for the players, the fans, and for everybody else included, especially the GMs, everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, unprecedented times. Definitely something that you don't want to take lightly, and whatever decision you make, just know there's going to be backlash either way, right? As a fan, I definitely want to see the NBA players play. I would love to see some type of tournament, 4 or 5 game, maybe 10 game lead up to the playoffs because I don't want to see them jump straight into the playoffs. I feel like this season would have the only asterisk upon asterisk. Granted, like there's a lot of rush that can be happening in 2 weeks off, right? A lot of players who were star players, Donovan Mitchell, actually got contracted the virus. So like it's definitely going to affect the way the season goes if they go, or the overall outcome of the season if they go straight into the playoffs. But I would love to see some type of, like we said earlier, shout out to Nate, give him another shout out, but love to see some type of like playoff tournament. This would be now the time to try to play around, to experiment, to try it out. You know what I mean? Like, why not?
They might go around and start taking things from the Big Three. I heard the Big Three might still be doing some things. They're still. I heard before that Ice Cube was on the Breakfast Club and he was talking about the Big Three might still be going on, but they are not going to have fans inside the stadiums. But they have to find a venue to actually have the Big Three there. Steven Jackson is a coach for the Big Three before he was a player. But, I just want to see basketball. I just want to see live sports.
Yeah, man.
I'm tired of this.
I agree.
I think there's a lot of wiggle room with this. Like, there's so much flexibility that you can do a lot. And I think that the NBA has also been they've been the trendsetter in sports when it comes to innovation. Yeah. Like, they're not afraid to jump out of the box and try new things and kind of fill things out, tease things, So it wouldn't be so far-fetched if we do see maybe a playing game, because you got teams like Portland who can make a run. I mean, you got teams like
the Pelicans who
are trying to make a run.
The Wizards trying to make a run.
Like, so you also want to be fair with this, but at the same time, you do want to respect the records and the teams that worked hard to be where they're at right now. So maybe they do like a playing baseball game, and then you have one game. Win. That's it. And you AC.
Let me ask you a question. If they do that, how does that affect the season awards and its voting?
I think
so. Like, is it fair? Let's just say hypothetically, this would be an amazing NBA drama if the Pelicans just so happen to make it to the last final game and play the Grizzlies for that 8th final spot, and let's say the Pelicans win. Me, being a Ja Morant fan and an NBA fan, I feel like that's unfair. If because of that happening, Zion goes on to win the Rookie of the Year, I feel like that would be unfair because Ja Morant has put on a much larger body of work.
That would be the asterisk.
Yes, that would be the asterisk. That would be the asterisk. That would definitely be my asterisk. So I'm interested to see. I have full faith in Adam Silver. He's been nothing but one of the best commissioners in all of professional sports. So trust his decision making. Moving along, we got some type of topics to talk about. Last week we talked about the bigger moves in free agency as far as who are most improved teams. Right. But there are a lot of guys who, given our situation, don't have jobs right now. You know what I mean? You have not only the everyday worker, you got the everyday quarterback. Mm-hmm. You got your Jameis Winstons. You got your Cam Newtons. You got Andy Dalton, whose future is up in the air, and Jacoby Brissett, who just got paid the bag last year, and then they just signed somebody and gave him the bag to either compete or take his spot. I would assume they assumed Philip Rivers was going to be the starter that year. So you have some solid NFL veterans, right, who have been proven to at least produce on a winning level, on some capacity. And then you got all these young, new, hot guns coming in. You got the Heisman Trophy winner, Mr. Do-It-All, Mr. Swag on top of swag.
Mr. I got leverage.
Mm-hmm. Mr. I don't want to go to this team. Joe Burrow, prospect number 1. You got Tua Tagovailoa, who also is another hot commodity, coming off a hip injury, so his draft stock isn't as high as it could be. However, that might help if you're a team who's in this, I'm looking for a new quarterback. So I guess with these, amongst other quarterbacks, shout out to Jake Fromm and Joe Herbert and Jordan Love. I think there was another one you said, I forget his name, was something Greason? I forget his name, the other quarterback? Ryan Greason, rookie
Eason.
Eason.
Yeah, Eason.
But like, if you're a GM, what are you going for? Jacob Eason. Thank you, John. If you're a GM, what are you looking for? Are you going with I'm gonna turn Cam Newton back into Superman, or I can fix Jameis Winston's wrongs, or are you taking a shot at one of these young quarterbacks? What do y'all think?
Me? I think the time for the new era for the new quarterback is here. It's upon us. The new era for the new quarterback is upon us. And I say that because this generation of talent that's currently constructed, they were stuck in the old model of football, pocket passers and making sure that you can hit targets from inside the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
This past season, and even last draft, with Kyler Murray going number 1 at scrambling quarterback, an undersized quarterback,
5'9",
shows that the league is going in a different direction. It shows that it's going in a direction where even if you don't have the stature of a quarterback, if you can ball, you can ball.
Lamar Jackson.
You can ball, you can ball. And they're buying into that.
Mm-hmm.
These college quarterbacks, and I feel sorry for quarterbacks like Troy Smith and quarterbacks who were previous before this generation who also did this in a way where it was like, they were great in the system. Mm-hmm. So now the NFL is adopting the college system. These quarterbacks, they're ready for it. They're ready for the read option. They're ready for, you know what I mean? The trick plays and RPOs, man.
Seeing Chiefs run a lot of option plays.
And I'm seeing old quarterbacks not adjusting to the style of the game. Like an Andy Dalton. Like Eli Manning last year getting sacked all the time. You know what I mean? And if you don't have an offensive line, then, a Jameis Winston, right? And J-Bo was a scrambler, but it just didn't work out for him. So you got to adjust. And I think that these quarterbacks coming in can do both. They can beat you with the athletic talent, and they can also throw the ball down the field and outsmart you. Like these guys coming in, and this is unfortunate, like I said before, because there were other quarterbacks who, like I said before, Troy Smith and all those other guys, I can't even name their names right now, that were great in these systems.
Right.
And now it's just a time. Now the system is changing. It's going towards
Vince Young.
Vince Young, exactly. Vince Young, yes, exactly.
Tim Tebow.
Tebow,
This kind of leads to my argument point where I feel like you have to assess your team.
Yeah.
If you're a team in a direction where you're a quarterback away, you're a solid quarterback away from being a championship team, then I'm not going to put all my eggs in the basket of a young freshman quarterback. Granted, we've seen situations like Lamar Jackson last year where that defense was already pretty good, but even when I think about Baltimore, realistically, even when it started the season, I wasn't sure that we had all the pieces necessary. Lamar Jackson actually became that piece. And there are some guys that may do that. But I'm also under the impression that I would much rather be able to grab a Tom Brady or Phillip Rivers and say, hey, my team is ready to go right now, than have to hope that this guy can adjust.
Tom Brady's and Phillip Rivers.
I mean, they were out there. And that's what when you talk about who are we grabbing, youth quarterbacks or veteran quarterbacks. Veteran quarterbacks were grabbed early. They were veteran quarterbacks. Ryan Fitzpatrick signed, not Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan
Tannehill re-signed.
Mariota got a deal.
Mariota got a deal. Teddy Bridgewater got a deal.
It's gonna be a good.
These are all veteran guys. Tom Brady, that's a veteran guy. Phillip Rivers, those are veteran guys. And
so are you saying that it's based on the team that they go to?
I truly believe, because I'm looking at the teams that need a quarterback and who
they're the Chargers.
Needs a quarterback. That's what I'm saying. If I'm the
Chargers.
If I'm the Chargers, I don't have a choice now. I have to grab one of these young quarterbacks.
I can
go with Cam or Jameis, and I'm not 100% sure on those guys because they haven't produced anything sustainable. It hasn't been consistent. Okay. And even when Cam was, a playoff Cam, the quarterback play wasn't always the best. He can make a play for you with his feet, but the quarterback play wasn't always the best. You look at Jameis Winston, and he threw 30 touchdowns last year, but he also threw 30 interceptions, which means he can throw you into a game and also throw you out of the game. And to be 100% transparent, 30 interceptions is worse than 30 touchdowns. It's worse than 30 touchdowns is great.
Yeah. So got some Brett Favre, man.
But at the same time,
that's a Florida State.
Yeah.
Here's the back
of
this conversation. You look at guys that were traded up for, like a Mitch Trubisky. like a Jared Goff, those guys that produced for a quick second, and then they looked really shaky. And you can be looking at that with these quarterbacks. So you go like the Bears, you trade away one of your best players to make sure that you have money to solidify your defense. You trade away your Josh Howard. What was the running back's name?
Jordan
Howard. They trade away who was the best producing player on that team. They had the best running game. They had a really dynamic running game.
Yeah, but Trey Burton was hurt too, man.
This is before they got Trey Burton. I'm talking about Philly went to the Super Bowl and they went and got Trey. They went and got Trey Burton. They went and got these guys. And then Mr. Trubisky was looking really bad over the last. To me, last year he looked really bad.
That's one of the
Jacksonville.
Last year they didn't have Jordan.
But look at
Jacksonville.
Look at the Reds into that spectrum of Jared Goff.
Same scenario.
But they went to the Super Bowl.
And then this year he wasn't good.
But they had a chance. They was in the lowest scoring Super Bowl. So it's like.
And 2 years later, they traded their best player. They've lost a lot of big names that looked good in that Super Bowl, so they got the cash out check. Get they check and cash out. And then you stick with that young franchise quarterback, and he doesn't produce because people have a year of footage on him. People have 2 years of footage on him, and that's what makes me a little iffy about saying I'm a trade up, like say Chicago did. I'm a trade up because some of the best quarterbacks that I'm looking at right now, Tom Brady, 6th round, Russell Wilson, 3rd round. Patrick Mahomes, a bad man, had 3 quarterbacks chosen above him. Thanks. Lamar Jackson was chosen at the end of the last quarterback chosen.
Then you got Cam Newton, who's a 1st-round pick, and now he's getting let go by the Panthers.
So
you got Andy Dalton, who's a high draft pick too, and then he's getting let go.
James Winston, number 1 overall.
James Winston, so
Matt Ryan, number 2.
I really think it depends on your production and the fact if you are healthy or not. And I think a lot of the part, Andy Dalton has been injury prone. Also, Cam Newton has been injury prone. Also, James is not injury prone. He just make injury
turnover prone.
Even if he's not injury prone, James has missed the start.
He's an INTWTH, interception waiting to happen.
He was suspended for 2 seasons to start.
I love, but I hate Jameis. But he gotta go. What are you doing, CJ? What I'm doing is, if I'm a team and I need them to work right now in order to solidify my coach's spot and everything, I want a veteran quarterback that I know can do it. Plus, you also mentioned that we are in a whole different lane of quarterbacks now. These mobile quarterbacks, you got Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, who ain't that mobile, but he can be mobile.
Whoa, Patrick Mahomes, you see that touchdown run on the sideline?
But who you gonna have run? Him or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson.
Two different
But he's still
levels.
Now there's 2 different levels of mobile.
That's an absolute fact because there's Lamar Jackson and there's Josh Allen, and then you have your Patrick Mahomes, and you can think of people like Roethlisberger, who can just, or even Kyler Murray can run, but I think what he does better than anybody else is staying in that pocket and extending the play to still throw. Russell Wilson, exactly. There's a different move.
Levels to this.
But before, even like I said, with the veteran quarterback, and you got the whole different lane of quarterbacks that we have now, I would go and get Cam. Cam is a veteran quarterback who is one of the originators of this new lane of quarterbacks. Now you seen what he did with Carolina when they virtually had nobody for wide receivers. When Kelvin Benjamin he got hurt.
He got fat.
Whichever one. What's his name? Devin Funches hurt. Everybody that he had, all he had was Greg Olsen. You knew who he was giving the ball to you knew who he was giving the ball to when it came down to a pass play. Greg Olsen. You knew he was getting the ball. Even then, you still had what's his name? Jonathan Stewart still as your running back. He's a pretty good running back, but he fell off when D'Angelo Williams left and went to the Steelers because you ain't got that 1-2
was exposed in the Super Bowl. Having a bunch of receivers that can't get any separation. And Cam Newton can't throw any accurate pass.
He can't run forever.
Bullet directly at your face.
I don't care how strong you are. You can't take a hit from Von Miller and you don't know where he's coming from, especially in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus, you got dudes like Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa. You still got Khalil Mack coming off that as J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney.
And I think that's the other thing that I was saying, too, about the speed of the game is different, too. Like, I feel like more now than ever, there's more pass rushers in the NFL from different positions.
Right.
Which
Pass
is required.
They just pass rushers nowadays.
It's not even
No, I'm saying is like you have linebackers, you have outside linebackers, you have DNs. The pass rushers are called edges.
Yeah, but
Khalil Mack is the edge.
Yeah, but a guy like Aaron Donald is a pass rusher too. And you had Jordan Phillips with the DT too, who had 9.5 sacks.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like you got people coming from the edge, you got people coming up the middle. Like you have to be able to.
Every one of them are running 4.6 and faster.
So with that being said,
and that's why, in my opinion, right now, I'm going with these scrambling quarterbacks that's coming out of college that's used to all this crazy freaking speed, as opposed to these ducks in the pocket looking like they about to get hit. Unless you have a Tom Brady who can read defenses like a mastermind. You know what I mean? I think that I honestly feel like Phillip Rivers is going to have trouble next year.
See, here's my thing.
You're going to have trouble
when
next
it comes to banking on the scrambling quarterback. The best prospect coming into this draft at quarterback is one that doesn't scramble. Joe Burrow is not a scrambler; he's a thrower.
Yeah.
And you can scramble all you want to, but as a defense, which I think is important, and like you said, you got all these fast guys that can rush you off the edge, rush you up the middle, and but they also are becoming a lot more versatile where they can show blitz and drop back. So give me a guy that can read the field. Give me a guy that knows, you know what? I only have 2 seconds for this pass, and I will Tom Brady 30 times and throw it to my flanker on a regular drag route and let him kill you since you're bringing all that pressure. Not saying, I need to run or I need to depend on my arm to be able to throw on the move and not be as accurate. That's how Jameis Winston lost a lot of games last year. Jameis Winston was one of those guys that wanted to extend plays, and there's defensive players. Sometimes you put yourselves in a position to make plays look better, but you don't see what's underneath. You don't see the lineman that dropped down. You don't see the Aaron Donald that read your screenplay and now is sitting on the running back.
Yeah.
And those are the plays that change games. Those are the plays that, you could have been in a tight game going 20 to driving up the field down 7, and now you're down 13, you're down 14. And those turn into losses, and you lose a quarter. And it's a lot easier to lose these guys in their rookie year than it is to lose Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers has been in that position before. He's been on a team that hasn't made it. He's been on a team that's lost. He's been in a position where he's had to come back. He's been in tight games.
He's been on a team that won neither though.
So I prefer I prefer the quarterback that can rip you apart cerebrally. So it's fun and as a rate. Yeah. So when I'm looking at Lamar Jackson and Dwayne Haskins, those are the teams that I follow the heaviest. Yeah. I look at Lamar and say he can run, but he also can read.
He can throw.
He can read. Of course he can throw, but can he read? Every quarterback can throw. Can they read the field? That's what makes the goods into greats or the bads into decents. Can they read? Can I not throw 13 interceptions this season? So
I'll go with the rookie quarterback that's disciplined too. Like both Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa, however you pronounce his last name, they are both disciplined. You seen that when they were both for Alabama, and plus you seen it when Jalen Hurts went over to Oklahoma. Very disciplined quarterback too. He has no problem with following whatever system. He really doesn't prefer to run, but if he has to, he can. And yeah, I'll go with him as well.
I'm going with these new young bucks, man. Get all the reasons Andy Daltons and Jameis Winstons and Cam Newtons don't got a job is for a reason. Because they showed us that they can't read. So I'm a coach, right? I'm betting read.
Wait, Cam, Ty brought up this point before. He doesn't know how to, what do you call it? He doesn't touch. He doesn't have no touch. He's beaming that. He's beaming straight to the chest.
I understand that. And even with that being said, I'd rather have somebody that I can groom.
So what I'm saying to you,
try to throw the ball like this.
I like a lot of the guys that I wouldn't throw my team away trying to grab one of these quarterbacks unless it's Joe Burrow and I'm the Bengals or the Chargers or maybe even the Patriots. But I heard the Patriots are waiting for next year to grab
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Who's that quarterback now?
But
there's a lot of guys in the league right now that showed promise, like the Daniel Joneses of the league, the Gardner Minshews of the league, the quarterback out in Detroit, not Detroit, the one in Detroit wasn't that good, but the one in Denver.
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock was pretty good.
Yeah.
You've seen Josh Allen had a really good year, and then we can talk about Lamar Jackson.
I like Gardner Minshew.
So those 1-2 year guys right now, Sam Darnold. I'm more willing to not necessarily tank my team, but trade my team away and stick with these guys. I like the last couple of rounds, and I don't think that everybody in this draft class, although we do know their names very well, we've known them for a long time. I don't think everyone's going to be good that great.
I can see that.
I can see that, but I also think that you gotta give them a chance.
Well,
just like you gave them.
And they'll get
They'll
there.
get their chance.
Yeah, we've seen with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, man, they're definitely gonna get their chance.
And that came quick too. I think after like 4 games.
How many games? 4 games?
4 or 5 games he got in there.
Got a chance. Yeah. It only take but so much. That's Tom
And
Brady.
if you're good, if you're that good, the cream will rise to the top. We've seen it with Russell Wilson. We've seen it with Patrick Mahomes. We saw it with Colin Kaepernick. We saw with what was the guy in Carolina last year that basically took Cam's spot?
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen. We saw with Kyle Allen last year.
Who the rest?
Got traded, yeah.
We're back around there.
I wish I didn't play for my Steelers at the Ben got hurt, but apparently not.
You thought you had a friend. Steelers thought they had a friend.
Panthers right now looking for.
They got rid of Josh Dobbs and took Mason Rudolph.
Mm-hmm. I thought Mason Rudolph would do something for you.
No.
But Phil is right, man. Phil wants to get into these receivers. That's what we got everybody hyped up about.
Mikey! What's good, Mikey?
Been out here soliciting everybody for their top 10 receivers. So this is how it's going to break down, man. We call this brackets. And the way brackets came apart was this was something that I used to do when it comes to all type of questions, whether it be celebrity questions, king of hip-hop, king of R&B, whatever the case may be. I wanted to bring it to the football world. There's not a lot of sports going on right now. There's not a lot. Like CJ said, he wants live sports back. We don't have any live sports, and our favorite things to do, as you saw in last week's show, is to debate all-time greatness, who you got, this person versus that person. So we scoured our network.
Universe.
And hopefully our network will grow so we can add even more people. But we got a good amount. We got about 17, 18 people to send in the list.
17, 18. Okay.
Yeah, so we got a good amount of lists. And they sent their top 10 receivers. And of that top 10 receiver list that we received from everybody, I created a 16-person bracket. So east, west, north, south, 1 through 4 bracket style, in which we will debate these receivers. One person will move on. We purposely added CJ to the show. He's a huge football enthusiast, and it also makes it even with us. So now that we have an even amount of voters, anybody that is logged on, anybody that wants to join into the conversation, if there is a tie, we are going to use your vote as the tiebreaker.
Yep.
So, we put on the Instagram page earlier today the top 4 seeds, the top number 1 seeds, and it was DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, Mike Thomas, and a surprise at
number 4.
Surprise at the number 4. Surprise at number 4 as the number 1 seed is Mike Evans out of Tampa Bay. So Mike Evans got the 4th most. He actually got the 2nd most votes. DeAndre, Julio, and Mike Thomas were tied for the most votes, meaning that everyone that voted them in, and you would be crazy if you didn't. Shout out to David Roman. He's been telling me to take Odell off the list. Believe it or not, Odell got one of the 2 spots because Odell got a lot of votes. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to start with our first.
Odell belongs on the list.
We're going to
Which
start
region we starting with, man? Which region we starting with?
He belong.
We're going to start with our very first
he belong.
1-4 matchup. And we have Mike Thomas from the Saints versus Jarvis Landry. So, before we pick who we have, I think it's important to say some things about the player. Even though we're going to vote at the end, even though we're going to vote at the end, I think it's important to say, if you were to vote for Jarvis Landry, what would you say? And if you were to vote for Mike Thomas, what are the points that hit home for you?
And also, just like, give this player some shine. They are elite. They are a really good receiver in the NFL.
I'm taking this as we have 16 receivers.
Good.
The receiver pool is what? Let's say 30 teams. 120, not to mention the ins and outs, people being so this is the elite bracket. This is the elite pool of this 16. And of this 16, we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 that come out on top in that order or whatever. But then the 6 through 10 or the 6 through even 16 is not to say that these guys aren't great. It's not to say that they can't jump into that range, into that realm, or that they weren't in that realm at some point in their career. And being on the latter end of their career has pulled them out of it. So again, we all know that we're going to take Mike Thomas in this. Anybody that does not believe that Mike Thomas is a better receiver than Jarvis Landry, please put in the comments why you feel so.
The weed.
But at the same time, I think it's important to mention that Jarvis Landry has been a very consistent receiver from the very beginning of his career. Odell got a lot of the love coming out of college, but Jarvis was a lot more consistent. He caught a lot more passes over those years when he was in Miami, and he also, to me, which is huge, he changed the culture in Cleveland. Granted, they haven't won yet, but they're not a piss poor 0-16 mo. You can actually bet at some point. I remember being early 2000s, late 2010, or early 2010s. You can bet. It wouldn't be the worst bet in the world to say the Cleveland Browns are not going to win a game this year. It wasn't the worst bet. I'm pretty sure it was right around the range of Tyson Fury. This is a 50-50 because the Cleveland Browns sucked for a very, very, very long time.
Still do.
So they're not as bad.
They're not as bad.
And I think Jarvis Landry was the force behind that. And he's been a solid receiver. He's been able to keep Odell under range. So I think if Jarvis Landry wasn't there, you replace Jarvis Landry with a lot of these names on this roster. Mm-hmm. And if they were having as bad a season, let's say you put Stephon Diggs there with Odell instead of Jarvis Landry, and Cleveland would have been a bigger shit show than it already was. I think Jarvis Landry was able to keep Odell under wraps, to keep him from lashing out at the media. He's a leader, exactly. Mm-hmm. So that's the argument I'm going to make for Jarvis Landry. Troy Lister put here Jarvis is a stud receiver. Thomas is obviously the overall.
I think when you look at caliber receivers, as a number 2, Jarvis would be number 1 on this list. I think that he would be a great number 2 receiver. He's a catch. He is a guy who you throw the ball to and I can catch it. The problem with this matchup is the problem with this matchup is that they are the same exact player. Michael Thomas does it better. They're both high value catch guys. They don't go. They're not touchdown. They're not touchdown.
He's not the best number 2 receiver on this list.
You can say that. That's your opinion.
You talking about Adam Thielen?
Yeah, absolutely. Adam Thielen is way better than him.
I think a conversation needs to be had here if Adam Thielen's the number 1 or number 2, because he's gonna have the opportunity to be number 1 this year.
I love that dude.
And you know how I feel about Adam Thielen.
I agree with that conversation, but I feel as far as number 2s, who would I rather have my number 2 guy?
You'd rather have Adam Thielen than
Jarvis.
I think Jarvis Hands is more reliable than Thielen, and Thielen get hurt.
Bro.
Thielen be off the field a lot.
Have you heard of Adam
Thielen be hurt, bro.
Got no
this is
yak.
his first season being
But he got short hands.
Thielen got short hands and yak.
And he got stay on the field.
Who caught the biggest catch for the Vikings this season?
Adam
Thielen.
You right.
On the route. You don't see Jarvis. You know that, bro.
You gotta be on the field, bro. Your biggest argument about why certain players should not be on this list and why you have Odell lower than where he is because he can't what? Stay on the field. So you have to be on the field in order for you to produce. And Jarvis Landry is more consistent with that.
So Jarvis Landry don't miss the game?
He hasn't missed more games than Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen missed more games.
Somebody stack check that.
Who's missed more games over their career, Adam Thielen or
shout out to Jarvis Landry, man. You're really good.
If I had to make an argument between Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry, I just computed the stats for the past 3 years. But Jarvis Landry had 3,137 yards for the past 3 years, 276 receptions. Michael Thomas had 4,375 yards for the past 3 years, 378 receptions, which is more than any other wide receiver that's on this list.
Yeah, we were just having fun with Jarvis Landry, respecting the fact that he has been a solid receiver.
But if I had to make an argument for Jarvis Landry, I would say that he is a stud. He is a very good stud receiver. Also, great blocking as well. A very good blocker of a receiver. And you can pretty much run the ball to his side, and you can pretty much guarantee that that cornerback is not going anywhere. He's going to stay over there. He's going to stay on the edge. He's not getting to Nick Chubb.
Did he miss a game?
Jarvis Landry has not missed. That's Jarvis Landry?
Yep.
Jarvis Landry hasn't missed a game.
Okay.
Thielen missed.
How many games?
But how many Pro Bowls
How many games did he
has
miss,
Jarvis
John?
Landry been
How
to?
many games did he
He's been
miss?
in Pro Bowl 5 times.
How many games did Thielen
I've
miss,
been-
John?
Exactly.
4 years.
How many
Exactly.
games did Thielen miss?
Thielen missed, what did he say? He missed, this is the first year he missed games.
This is the first year he missed games.
First year he missed games. But he still missed more years.
Missed more games.
Okay.
Missed more
Alright,
games.
time to vote.
And Jarvis Landry. And Jarvis Landry missed the Pro Bowl.
I got-
This is the Jarvis Landry
I
from
got
Adam
Mike
Thielen.
Thomas.
We got Mike Thomas.
So,
We never talk about that.
I think it's only right to be fair
Mhm.
that we give somebody a right hand and left hand, and on 3 we all throw that hand up.
Okay.
Because I don't want to vote based on what
Fair.
you're saying.
Fair.
So, right hand, Michael Thomas, left hand, Jarvis Landry on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, Michael Thomas it is. So,
Breaking news.
Breaking news, Jarvis Landry got kicked out.
all right, so we're going to move on to our next 1-4 matchup. This one's going to be a lot more fun for the show. Yeah, we're going to do 1-4 as the start. This is going to be a lot more fun because here we have a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and right next to him we have a huge Atlanta Falcon fan. And our
Don't do
next
this to me.
1-4 matchup is Juju Smith-Schuster at the 4 seed versus Julio Jones at the 1 seed. Okay, make your argument. I want you to make your argument.
No. I'm gonna make my argument for Juju.
Do it.
No, we already know
Guys
what you
on
gonna
the
say.
team right here.
Let me see. What you gonna say?
This is what we want.
Come on.
Because Juju did kill the Falcons when he did play them in his rookie year. And his rookie year.
How long ago was that?
Huh?
How long ago was
We
that?
ain't played him.
I'm just saying. It was his rookie year. He's been in the league 3
Alright.
years. So that was for 2017. This is for 2020. What did Julio do last year? It's just another day at the office.
I think you might
Julio.
want to make your arguments for Julio what
Yeah.
he's done.
It's just another day at the office.
Facing
for Julio.
someone tougher.
It's just another day at the office for Julio. We ain't got to go into that. But
Yeah.
what did Juju Smith-Schuster do last year?
Okay.
He was the only player on his team with 2 bum quarterbacks. My main quarterback hurt. My second quarterback bum. My second quarterback got knocked out and got hit in the head by a helmet. My third quarterback, his name is Duck for a reason. So, what you want him to do?
Julio.
What you want him to do?
I want him to produce.
With what?
I want you to get him more than 700 yards.
Right.
I don't care.
Not only did he have a tough time because of the quarterbacks, but I also know a guy who is on this list that we're going to talk about later who almost didn't make this list. But he played. Larry Fitzgerald played for bum quarterback at the bum quarterback at the bum quarterback.
DeAndre Hopkins too.
But
Before
at the very least, with Larry Fitzgerald, he still had David Johnson. He still had Christian Kirk. He still had all these other players that could produce around him.
That got James Conner.
He got hurt.
For the majority of the season.
Juju got hurt too.
Yeah,
Julius
Vance Walker, what's his name? Who tight end? Was it Vance Walker?
Vince McDonald?
Yeah, he was one of the top fantasy tight ends coming into the season. Don't act like he wasn't, CJ.
He was.
Yeah, you know. So don't sit there and act like y'all ain't had nobody.
With Vince McDonald, we're not putting him over Travis Kelce. We're not putting him over Kyle Rudolph.
But
We're not putting him
at the
over
beginning of the
He's not
season,
top 5.
at the beginning of the season, you would have put him over Austin Hooper.
Yeah, I would.
All right then. So don't say. And Austin Hooper had a way better than him. So don't say you have weapons.
But with
Don't say you
Juju,
have weapons.
with my boy Juju, we killed y'all Falcons. And Juju had absolutely nobody on this team. The only person,
The Falcons in the Pittsburgh met this year.
nah, they didn't.
Oh, okay.
But what I will say is Deontay Johnson did produce this year, being that he was that slot receiver going across the middle.
Why you talking about everybody else? Talk about Juju. Why Juju ain't MVP? Talk about Juju. It's Juju. Julio.
Juju and
Oh, he was hurt, and Julio ain't missed but 1 game.
So
We're making that the argument.
The argument is Julio versus Juju, and I'm telling you why Julio better than him.
Hey, look.
I think Juju is a good receiver.
I
like
Juju.
I also think he's the number 1 receiver.
I might like him over Jarvis Landry.
I will say, out of all the names that made this list, and I'm a culprit here as well, because I voted for Juju at first before I really looked at it and saw that there was guys better than him. Of all the people that made this list, I think that he's a product of his environment.
Yeah.
First and foremost, Pittsburgh is a receiver factory. We know that. It's been a receiver factory for 20 years. They produce some really great receivers.
I'll speak to that wide receiver coach too. He passed away this past season. So their wide receiver coach passed away this past season. So that is not really a whole contributor, but I know he contributed a lot to that team.
With saying Juju is the number one receiver in my heart, I also believe that he needs a damn good number two receiver next to him.
Yeah.
Because Juju one-on-one coverage, solid. He's had some of the biggest catches, whether it was this year or last year. He has 3 or 4 95 plus yard catches.
Oh, man.
He has crazy. So he's tall. He has good hands, but with Juju, and it's another part of Juju why I was kind of curious that he made the list. Not necessarily the speed. He's dropped some huge
fumble
passes.
Mm-hmm. Dropped some huge passes and fumbled at huge moments.
In the biggest of moments, Juju has not shined. And he's a great guy.
You gonna hold that against him?
He's not a great receiver.
See, that was no dropping passes too. Some huge passes.
But that was for 1 year. And then that year after that.
No, T.O. used to drop passes all the time, left and right. You like, T.O., come on, you gotta catch that, bro.
And I'm talking
about you make up for it though.
Because I'm about to say, Juju can't. He never had a year like
my boy Phil said.
Best 5 years.
I mean, my man.
If Juju wide receiver coach died tomorrow, if Julio wide receiver coach died tomorrow, he'll still be better than Juju. Yo, I really feel like Raheem Morris, who is now our currently defensive coordinator, was our wide receivers coach at the beginning of the year. So he lost his wide receiver coach for defense.
But he's still there. He's still there. Don't get me wrong. Juju is one of the best. He's the best receiver at the Steelers organization right now. He was an MVP for the team last year. Granted, Antonio Brown went crazy, but still, he still produced. He still had over 100 receptions last season.
I love Juju. I'm gonna say this last week. Yeah. I love Juju, but you have to also speak to the body of work. He only had one great season. That was last year. But he had 100, and he had an AB at the side, and he had Ben Roethlisberger. And Le'Veon Bell. You had to. You know what I mean? So with that being said, Julio's been doing these things for the last 10 years.
He's not dead at the office,
it's
man.
like Julio. Me and Rob have this conversation all the time. The last 5 years has been who's better. Blah blah blah.
Oh,
Julio Jones. And that's a fact.
Even when he was in college, who's better? It was AJ Green and Julio.
Let's do this vote, man. I'm trying to run off.
Right hand, Julio. Left hand,
Juju.
Schuster on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, Juju.
Julio
Jones.
Antonio Brown's still better. I'm still taking Antonio.
We're gonna move on to our next 1-4 matchup. And this one was fun for me. I looked at it, and the guy that I wasn't expecting to make the list made the list. And the number 1 seed, we got DeAndre Hopkins, of course. Mm-hmm. At the number 4, we got Kenny Galladay from Detroit Lions. Mm-hmm. And it was a little bit of Detroit bias.
A little bit.
Everybody from Detroit voted cross reference.
And there were some other people who had it.
Right. He wasn't the lowest, actually. Jarvis Landry got the least amount of votes, followed by Juju. Mm-hmm. And then it was Kenny Galladay. So Kenny Galladay had one more vote than both Jarvis Landry and Juju. Yeah. In the comments, y'all can discuss if y'all think Kenny Galladay is better than either one of those two receivers, because we know that he's not better than DeAndre Hopkins. But
anybody want to make an argument?
Here's what I'm gonna say. Right. You spoke earlier how Juju did not have he didn't have a quarterback.
Thank you.
Detroit went through all types of quarterback situations this year. And Kenny Galladay
balled out.
Regardless to who was throwing him the ball. Mm-hmm. Granted, he did have a lot more success with the third guy. No, not Matthew Stafford. The third guy. The guy that they let finish the season.
The guy who was starting
the guy they let finish the season.
His name.
Yeah, no, not the one that was starting.
He finished the season?
No, he sucked the next game and then they gave it to somebody else. Oh man, I can't remember the kid's name right now.
I'm really upset.
Anyway, he balled out. He balled out.
No way.
Kenny Galladay balled out.
Josh Dobbs.
Kenny Galladay balled out, and DeAndre Hopkins
had another day at the office. Yeah, about another day off D-Hop. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the words of what was it, the Arizona coach? Yo, right now you the best in the game. What DeAndre Hopkins say?
When he said I know.
That was a summer day. Julio must have been out the office that day.
Who they never had a season with no
to
drop.
Phillips' point, man, if Philip says they were losing every game and shit, they were always throwing. So was Pittsburgh. And they had hurt. Pittsburgh had hurt.
And so was the Browns.
Running back, had quarterback issues, and all types of stuff.
And
so defense was really winning this game.
When you throw Rob's argument into it with the whole Tom Brady thing, well, he had a great defense. Detroit had a terrible defense, and
Pittsburgh had a decent defense. They actually had an opportunity.
At the end of the day, he got to do what he's paid to do. He's a receiver. He's giving his team a chance. Can you pull up his stats right quick, John?
11 touchdowns.
I mean, how many catches? How many yards?
He had 65 receptions.
65, almost 1,200 yards.
And 1,000, 1,200 yards, yeah.
This is a solid receiver.
And the year before that, he had another 1,000 yards, too.
Nobody could be mad with
the 5 touchdowns.
So, I'm not necessarily upset with Galladay making the list. I think it's also important that he made the list, that he is being respected in the town. You know, one, hasn't won much recently, and two, I mean, they've been they paid for the guy and it didn't work out with Golden Tate. They lost Calvin Johnson to retirement for nothing. So they've been looking for someone to fill those huge shoes of Calvin Johnson. You're not going to necessarily fill those shoes, but I think Kenny Galladay is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
However, I'm trying not to make arguments for DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to save those for when there's actually a conversation to be had. So if y'all don't mind, we can go right into the voting right now. Let's go right into the input. Anybody online got something to say about these guys?
We got a vote already. We had 2 votes already.
Not D-Hop,
man. So
he said, Hopkins, let's move on. I'm dead. So, right hand D-Hop, left hand Kenny Galladay. 1, 2, 3. Right hand D-Hop it is, and D-Hop has moved on. Last of our 1-4 matchups, and this one, it's going to be a doozy because this is the weakest bracket. So it has like the strongest 4 seeds, strongest 3 seeds, and the weakest 1 and 2 seeds. And Mike Evans is the 1 seed, and I'm happy that he got the spot. I think Mike Evans, fantasy, he was off and on last year. Jair Johnson can attest to that. But for the most part, I feel like when you want to build a receiver, this is the prototypical guy you want.
For the most part.
Yeah. What's missing?
Speed.
Oh, before we do that, he's going head up against Larry the Legend. Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry
Fitzgerald. At some point when I was getting votes, I was afraid that he wasn't going to make the list. I'm happy that he did. Yeah. It's Larry Fitzgerald. He's going to be side by side with DeAndre Hopkins this year. Last time I remember him being side by side with a star receiver. They were both top 5 in the league, in my opinion, with him and Anquan Bolden. So that's the matchup: Mike Evans versus Larry Fitzgerald. Jump in now.
So if you look at like body of work and you look at like all-time great receivers, it's not even a question who's better at that time. You put Larry Fitzgerald his prime versus Mike Evans his prime, and I'm definitely going with sure hands. Larry Fitzgerald. They're the same. They basically play the same style of football. Go up and tie point the ball, catch the ball, make sure that you block the physical receivers as well. Larry Fitzgerald stiff away, you know what I mean? Can hit you with the home run play if you allow him. If you think this is so, I'm to the crib.
Here's the conversation. We talking about.
I know.
20, right?
I'm going into this.
Right.
As of right now, Larry Fitzgerald is on his decline. He can still
hide. He's on his decline for the last 7 years.
Braun is on that decline.
Yeah, but he's been like his last season was quiet. 75 receptions, 804 yards.
75 receptions, 804 yards is not quiet.
That's quiet for Larry Fitzgerald.
That's quiet for Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, that's quiet for Larry Fitzgerald. As opposed to Mike Evans.
This is what I'm trying to say to you. He's like LeBron in the sense where it's like, I'm not saying he's the greatest of all time. But I'm saying he's like LeBron in the sense where
he did make the
75 catches is I believe is very close, or if at 5 catches a game with the rookie quarterback and Christian Kirk, who had a great year. I'm not going to hate on him, but he's not in this conversation at all. You know, but as the second option,
as opposed to him averaging 98 receptions a year,
right? But it's a lot of guys.
So that's a big drop off, bro.
List with 75 catches. I'm saying even with his drop off, he's that high in the clouds
right.
that his drop off going into 2020. may be stronger than Mike Evans.
I don't think so because Mike Evans has 67 receptions,
less receptions,
and 8 touchdowns and more yards.
Right, but he had less catches.
Yeah, less catches. But I still take. And
he's on this list at number 1.
I'll take the youth. I'll take Mike Evans right now because he's playing with J-Bo. J-Bo is throwing interceptions left and right.
He's also throwing the ball left and right.
Right, and J-Bo gave him a lot of opportunities to go there and get it. But
watch this season with Tom Brady. Watch his touchdowns increase dramatically. I want to say dramatic because it's going to be both. It's going to be drastic and dramatic because it's about to get crazy.
David Roman makes the point that I'm glad someone else made that I didn't have to make. Granted, Mike Evans did add Tom Brady, the mastermind Tom Brady. But Larry Fitzgerald just added D-Hop.
Yeah.
So you talk about one of the best one of the best receivers of all time, not getting the attention of one of the best receivers of all time.
Yeah.
He's fast, but he was never the fastest. He's shifty, but he was never the shiftiest.
Right.
He's a route runner. This guy's gonna put one foot in the ground, make you think he's going upfield, turn left, and have 5-6 yards separation. Now he's gonna be doing that against number 2 corners.
Yeah.
Slot corners. Linebackers if he's bunched up.
I think
this is gonna be
you're right.
Who's gonna have a crazy
and
year.
I think that with Tom
Brady and Mike Evans,
I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's somebody else on that team that thinks gonna have a better year than Mike Evans. I'm like,
who got better year than Mike Evans?
Hey, Chris Gilbert had a better year than him last year. And who's more built for Tom Brady's style?
Gronk. And Mike Evans is built like Gronk.
Chris Godwin is built like Wes Welker. Well, he's a little bit taller, but he's faster.
So who's better between Mike Evans? Who's better between Gronk and Wes Welker?
Chris Godwin.
Who's better between? Wait, hold on. Who's better between Gronk and Wes Welker?
Wes Welker was
it depends on what you need. It depends on what you need.
They play most against the Giants in the Super Bowl.
Look, I just feel like Tom Brady has more of an effect on Mike Evans than DeAndre Hopkins had an effect on Larry Fitzgerald.
All right,
that's just my opinion.
It's time to put in a vote, man. It's time to put in a vote. I'm gonna go right hand, top team, which is Mike Evans, left hand Larry Fitzgerald. Who's going to be the better receiver going into 2020? Who's gonna have the better year? Right hand Evans, left hand Fitzgerald. 1, 2, 3. Stand alone. I stand alone, but that's all right, Larry Fitzgerald, because you're going to make them all eat their words. I don't think Mike Evans is going to have a bad year at all. I think Mike Evans is going to have a great year. I think Chris Godwin is going to have a better year than him, though, because he is more fit for exactly.
I think it depends on what you call a better year. I think that Evans is going to have more touchdowns, and I think that Godwin's going to have more receptions. They're both going to have great yards. So it depends on what you want. I'll take touchdown.
I love me some Chris Godwin, man. Dropped him in the fantasy league. But I feel like he jumped on the scene of a lot of people this year. I don't think he's gonna have that same opportunity to catch the ball that much.
Oh, the timer just stopped. Perfect. All right, y'all.
So
let's move on to our first 2-3 matchup. I'm gonna stay in this bracket actually.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay in this bracket because I saw the names and everybody was wondering. Don't worry, he's here, but he's going up against somebody that's right there in the division. So our first 2-3 matchup, which is the strongest 2-3 matchup, is Devontae Adams for the Packers and Adam Thielen for the Vikings. I repeat, that is Devontae Adams versus Adam.
Who said white man can't jump?
Thielen versus Adams.
We put 5 minutes on the clock.
Love Adam
I'm gonna allow everybody to make their arguments, and we're gonna move on from there. Adam Thielen versus Devontae Adams.
I love Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is like he's like a Antonio Brown, but slower and less shifty. But so the light version of Antonio Brown. He's a 5'10", 5 foot.
Adams?
No, Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen's he's a 5'10" dude that you don't really think he can go up and get it, but he'll go up, get it, and take the ball out your hands and possibly run down the field for a touchdown with it. Get him in the open.
He's 6'2".
Who?
5'10". He's 6'2". So I'm about to say, I see Adam Thielen grab too many passes over the top. So he's 5'10". Only 5'10" person jumping like that is on this list too. We're gonna talk about it. That's in the league right now.
Oh yeah.
But what you call? But yeah, he's a go-getter receiver. Like I said, who said white man can't jump? He goes up and get it. He's an undrafted. He was undrafted. Went to a small school. Came in onto the scene. I think
he was a special teamer.
Special teamer.
He worked his way up to the league.
His way up. Hometown boy from Minnesota, born and raised. Went to a community. Went to some college. What is it? Minnesota State, something like that. Whatever it was, nobody heard of him before. Nobody heard of him. He came in. Him and what's his name? Xavier Rose came in. He said got drafted. He came in the same year as me, and he's been thinking that he can get the ball over me since then. And he's been a Pro Bowler. He's been a Pro Bowler. I didn't know who he was until him and Steph Diggs came onto the scene and started killing. And like anybody, who was it that brought it up? He had the best catch this season from Minnesota.
Yeah,
I love Adam Thielen, especially as a number 1 or number 2 receiver.
I'm gonna go in the opposite direction. I like touchdowns, bro. I like touchdown dances, man. I want to see somebody in the end zone. This man, Devontae Parker, gets in the end zone. Devontae Parker getting in the end zone too. He had a great season. Last year as well. Like he was a highlight factory for the Dolphins. Troy, listen, I know you know who that is because that's your team. But with that being said, Devontae Adams, that man, Ocho Cinco said something about him that I will never forget. He said, his routes are so pure, I started crying, man. He was on IG crying. It was like a Stephon Marbury moment when he ate Vaseline.
Oh my god.
Ocho Cinco said that, and I started watching his games, and this dude gets open, bro. Did you see the route that he burnt? He burnt Richard Sherman on the game.
Oh yeah, the playoffs.
And then Sammy Watkins took that route to burn him again in the playoffs as well, bro. That man is a route runner. And like the last 2 seasons. Last season he didn't do so well with touchdowns. He had 5 touchdowns. But the season before that, 13, 10, and 12, bro. Adam Thielen has not gone over 10 touchdowns his entire career. So,
but he has had more yards than that dude in the past 3.
He has more yards. Like I said, I want to see you in the end zone. I mean, that's just my argument. I'd rather take the guy that's going to get. And on top of that, last year, not this year, that just passed, he had 1,386 yards. That's more than Adam Thielen ever had in his career. So when you look at the top numbers,
you said what?
1,386 yards.
Who got that? Adam Thielen had 1,373.
Right. So then once again,
but still,
when you look at their career highs, I go with the person.
But it's not even. To me, it's not even career highs. First and foremost, I'm gonna harp on to you, John. Granted, Adam Thielen has the better quarterback when it comes to who's throwing the ball to him. I'm sorry, I meant to say, excuse me. Devontae Adams has the better quarterback when it comes to who's throwing the ball. Mm-hmm. However, Adam Thielen also had a star on the other side of him. Devontae Adams did not have that last year or the year before. Mm-hmm. Last year, his stats, if you put his stats into this year's stats, he would have been the 3rd highest receiver in receiving yards this year. He also, if you add his catches, he would have been up in the top 5 with catches. He only played 12 games this year, so he was hurt, but his production did not change. Because me and Josh Johnson was having this conversation last night, and I looked at his stats, and he was on pace to do exactly what he did the year before, which was 1,300 yards, over 110 catches, by himself, without the help. And like you said, the route running is amazing. I am curious to see Adam Thielen as the guy. And I think that was my argument last year when everyone was putting him in the top 5. Adam Thielen's the top 5 receiver in the league when he was wilding out at the beginning of the year. That wasn't this season, that was last season.
At the
beginning of the season, he was bugging out. And it was like, oh, Adam Thielen's the best thing since sliced bread. I think Adam Thielen is more of a, to be honest with y'all, I think he's more of a Juju than he is a DeAndre Hopkins. I think Devontae Adams is more of a DeAndre Hopkins than he is a Juju. I think he's going to produce regardless of who's on the other side of him, regardless of who's guarding him. And that's why I think Devontae Adams is better than Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen had 2 seasons over 1,000 yards. Yeah. Devontae Adams only had 1.
Mm-hmm. Right. He was hurt last year, and
he had 995, 997.
And he played 4 less games than he played the year before, where he would have been 3rd in the league in yards this year.
But he only had 1 year.
I hear you. I'm not talking about the past, though. I'm talking about next year. And next year, Adam Thielen is going to be by himself, just like Devontae Adams.
I don't think he'll be by himself.
When I say by himself, it's not going to be another star on the other side of him.
He'll have Kyle Rudolph.
He won't be another star on the other side of him. Because
Stephon Diggs is
out. You put it that way, then Devontae Adams had Jimmy Graham, but he's been a shell of himself for the last.
He ain't been Jimmy the way that we know.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So,
But more like
Kyle Rudolph has been Kyle Rudolph,
y'all.
top 5 tight end.
What we doing?
The top seed's gonna go on the south. So Devontae Adams right hand, Adam Thielen on your left hand, and 1, 2, 3.
I'm not alone.
Grab Devontae.
Devontae, Phil, I'm sorry. Adam Thielen is out of here as of right now.
I would have said Randy Moss. I probably would have said Randy.
Or Chris Carter.
Chris Carter.
Or what was your man's? Jake Reed.
Jake Reed. Triple threat.
And Rob in the middle.
Chris Carter didn't even make the all-time 100.
Triple threat.
Chris Carter did not make the all-time 100 list.
No,
No.
he didn't.
Larry
T.O.
Fitzgerald
didn't either.
T.O. didn't.
Wow.
Larry did.
Thielen did.
Julio didn't either.
So I did my bro. Alright, y'all, we're gonna move on to the next 2-3 seed. It's another one. I hope David is still on for this. I hope David Roman is still on for this because he's gonna get a kick out of this one. The other Vikings receiver is in the 3 seed as Stephon. Well, he's not a Viking receiver anymore. He's with the Bills now,
He
and
finally got somebody.
he's head up with Odell Beckham.
Shall I pull up the
Odell
highlights?
Beckham in the 2 seed.
That's the tough one.
Stephon Diggs in the 3 seed.
That's the tough one.
You got
We got
you got the Immaculate Reception
That's a tough
versus the Minneapolis Miracle.
That's a tough one.
woo, going into next year.
Try not to put my Giants bias in.
And my
Really hard.
Imagine.
He was a Giant. He created great memories in New York. Couldn't go
as
to
much
the
as I want to
Very
put
similar
Stephon Diggs
people.
here,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
I feel like we are.
I'm not putting Stephon Diggs.
No,
Here.
I feel like they're very similar.
They are, but Odell is that explosive over the top. Like, it's like, all right. Stephon Diggs is like Thor and like the Incredible Hulk. Odell's like Thanos, bro. Like I put it that way, saying like they are very similar, except he's just got that it factor that makes him that a little tiny bit better than him. Like, and they're both a little bit undersized receivers. Both can get up and go get it. Both got route tree. Both crazy yak, crazy hands. I would. When I think of Stephon Diggs, he's a little bit undersized. He ain't 6'3". He ain't 6'4".
Odell 5'11".
Undersized. Both of them are undersized
He's
receivers that are willing to go up and go get
Them
it.
high socks make him look like he's 16.
But I'm going with the man. I know, John, you're going to kill me on this one.
You going Stephon Diggs?
I know that Odell Beckham be hurt. I know he's a headache. When it comes down to his talent, there's very few in the league that can touch him. And with his down year, I think he's due for a very big comeback. So I'm going Odell in this one, man.
You gonna say talent? I'm gonna go to sheer stats. His first season in the league.
Bling,
blang, blue. You gonna?
Odell?
I'm talking about Odell. I'm talking about Odell.
You're not talking about the past, though. I
Oh,
know Odell's
okay.
capable of.
Okay.
What did he do last year?
Okay.
What did he do last year?
Where's
He
his
still had 1,000 yards last year.
What's
He
his
still had 1,000 yards last
Who
year.
had 1,000 yards last year, John?
Odell.
No, he didn't.
Odell does have 1,000 yards.
That was in the first quarter.
He did.
The play against the Jets was in the first quarter.
Okay, when he did that quick pass against the Jets and he caught in between 4 touchdowns.
It was the Jets. They weren't starting Sam Donald or the.
First of all,
He broke the dude's leg. So he broke the Beckham's leg.
So
he left the Giants. He left the Giants because he said that he wasn't getting the ball enough. The reason why he wasn't getting the ball enough in the Giants is the Giants had a terrible offensive line. He goes to the Browns, and the Browns has another terrible offensive line. And on top of that, Baker Mayfield played worse than Eli last year than Eli played the season before that.
Baker was trash.
He was but Doogie. And with that being said, he still had 1,000-yard season and 4 touchdowns, bro. And not 4 touchdowns. That's terrible. That's really terrible. That's really terrible.
I'm playing my little violin.
However, when it comes to talent, like Brock said, come to talent, and I'm going to stats. Once again, his first season in the league, a man had over 1,300 passing yards and 12 touchdowns. So imagine if he gets back to that. That's the potential that I look at when I see Odell Beckham. And that's just him as a rookie. So what happens when he gets a line? What happens when now he has another option? Now he has a running game. And then Baker Mayfield can play like we know Baker Mayfield can play.
I don't know Baker can play nothing.
as he's shown in college, then I think that he will have enough. He'll get back to that greatness. I'm going with Odell, man.
Here's my thing, Joe.
I'm going with OBJ, man. He's back like 1-3.
Yo, so let me compliment you before I destroy it. Before I try to destroy it.
Try.
Right. Odell has won some of the best catches that I've ever seen. I think he has. To me, his catch was the best catch ever. To me, that catch against the Cowboys is the best catch I've ever seen. He caught it with 3 fingers. He's also had some of the most spectacular catches ever. He's one of the fastest guys on the field, and at the same time, one of the most explosive guys.
Hit you with a slant route, turning 90 yards.
Mm-hmm. As Odell played for a team that was going to the playoffs.
He played the Giants, and they didn't make the playoffs that 1 year.
They made the playoffs 1 year.
1 year.
When he went to Miami.
1 year.
And
missed both trips.
Yeah, he went to Miami.
Yeah.
And then they
laid an egg in the playoffs.
Yeah, they let it in the playoffs.
Right?
The Giants let it egg in the playoffs.
No, he did too.
He dropped the pass, but he could have a touchdown.
It was because Victor Cruz was wearing that red hat, black shirt combo. That
right.
No
So all these excuses that we give Odell Beckham. Oh, he doesn't have an offensive line. Oh, he doesn't have another offensive line. Oh, Eli is old. Odell Beckham is part of the reason why Eli had to retire this year. Baker Mayfield's having a bad second year. And granted, some of these reasons are solid. But at the same time, when I'm comparing him to someone like Stephon Diggs, who has had the same issues where he's had to complain and fight with his coaches, I'm not getting the ball enough. We're not looking my way. Why I only have one target. But in the biggest of moments, Steph been there. Steph is the Minnesota Miracle. Steph, even in the game that they lost last year, they just lost in the most recent playoffs.
Catch again this year for the Vikings?
In the most recent playoffs. Right.
He's talking about Minnesota.
I'm talking Minnesota.
Case Keenum too.
Yeah.
That was Stephon Diggs.
Diggs down the sideline.
Yeah.
That was Diggs' play. Granted, it was more or less of a bad play on defense.
Yes.
But it was his play to make, and he made that play. You can't say Odell runs that same route. You can't say Odell doesn't bust his foot up kicking the kicker's equipment. So, and then the show that comes with Odell makes it that much harder when you're losing.
But Diggs
And newsflash, he's never won.
Diggs don't come with a show.
Hey, at least my show.
All I used to see is Diggs talking about he about to get traded in the middle of the season. That's all
And
I
the way
used to see. Diggs made more highlights this year than Odell did.
How did he handle it? I think they made about the same.
No. There was more
conversation situation.
No. The highlight on the Browns this year was Baker Mayfield. Was not Odell Beckham.
Odell was saying a whole bunch of stuff this year. Yes,
Baker Mayfield, the spotlight was on Baker Mayfield.
This is the difference. Whether Odell's doing good, bad, or poor, there's going to be a camera in his face. If Stephon Diggs is doing terrible, there may be a camera. If he's doing great, there may be a camera. Other than that, he doesn't bring that aura. And it's not a bad aura to have when you're not associated with losing. Odell is Carmelo Anthony. Odell is James Harden. Odell is this amazing talent that has not showed us anything sustainable in what matters most to us, which is winning.
If Odell is Carmelo Anthony, Stephon Diggs is Marcus Aldridge.
He wins.
He's wins, yeah, but who would you rather have, Marcus Aldridge or I know?
When it's all good, I'd rather have Odell. Any other situation, I'd rather have Diggs. Any other situation, I'd rather have Diggs. When it's all good, when everything's all good, give me Odell. Absolutely.
So your argument is the headache that Odell brings is the reason why.
My last argument is
Stephon Diggs is better.
Not why he's better than him. I'm thinking more or less who's going to have a better year next year.
Okay.
And I think that Stephon Diggs being the number one receiver over with a guy who had a great passing year with Josh Allen with the Bills, and he also was throwing to a whole bunch of guys under 6 feet. Now he has that 6'2", 6'1", over the top type of guy. I think, and he's one of the better quarterbacks, top 5 in extending plays, Josh Allen. So I think they're just gonna have they're gonna have a better season, and I think that he's going to have a better season than Odell. So that's part of why I'm with the Diggs train.
CJ, what you got, man?
Y'all want to vote? We've been talking about this for a while. You want to make you got a point?
Close your argument.
Well, look, I know one thing. My pops is pretty sure you're gonna watch this. He's gonna say the same thing that he's been telling me. Odell's claim to fame is that one catch that he had against the Cowboys. He's overrated. He's this, that, and that. I don't think Odell's overrated. I think that he has short hands. definitely short hands. He has a lot of one hand catches, whether it's over your head, over here, wherever you throw it to him, he's going to catch
drops
the ball.
too. That's the drops too.
He do, but then again, he's also with Baker Mayfield, who doesn't really throw to him in one-on-one coverage when he should. Mm-hmm. A lot of them, like
same thing with Eli.
Like no. But,
at some point, when are you the problem?
But even his whole sideline, when you seen Baker Mayfield, he threw the ball to Jarvis Landry. The whole team on the sideline was like, "Yo, Odell's right here."
16 that they didn't make when Odell was running. That's when Odell went crazy on the sideline. Coach had to grab him up. Talk to him, one of the sideline coaches. I don't know what coach he wasn't the head coach.
Odell also said that he believes in Baker. He did that nothing. I've seen him diffuse situations with Baker this year.
Yeah, he sounds like T.O.
I knew he was going to say that.
Nah. Oh no, T.O. Romo. That's not quarterback. It sounds like T.O. Romo with like, and that's what I'm trying to say to you. When things are good, just like. You guys know my argument. I like T.O. over Randy Moss when it comes to whole body of work. But when it comes to who I would take, I'm taking Randy Moss because it's slightly less headache. Slightly less headache. So we can bring it to a vote now.
Let's do the vote, man.
So right hand is Odell, left hand is Stephon Diggs, and let's go for it. 1, 2, 3.
You said right hand is who?
Odell.
I'm alone.
Like Beckham.
Odell has moved on
like
to my dismay.
Yeah.
To a lot of people in the audience's dismay, Odell has moved on to the next round, and that will leave us to you guys choose if it's intriguing or not. We got Tyreek Hill from the Kansas City Chiefs versus Amari Cooper.
Yo,
that's an intriguing matchup.
I tried to make this argument before.
That's an intriguing matchup.
Do y'all think Amari Cooper is like great against a cornerback like Jalen Ramsey? He's been great.
Talk about it, CJ. Nah, I'm gonna let you talk.
Talk, CJ.
Preach, CJ.
Has he been good against cornerbacks like Chris Harris Jr.? Has he been good against like one of the other cornerback from the Los Angeles Rams?
Marcus Peters?
Yeah, Marcus Peters. I ain't really seen him show up that much against them. But Tyreek Hill, you know where he's going to be. You know what he's going to do. You stop him.
Good luck.
If you do not jam him up at that point, you know where he is. You know where he is. If you do not jam him up right there, and you don't have at least that safety over the top, it's not far back.
Hey, if you jam him, you better have all types of help over the top because Mahomes got 3 seconds to throw the ball. He can throw it. It's the perfect combination. Mahomes can throw the ball farther than anybody. Yeah. Tyreek Hill can run faster than anyone.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like Vic and
Deshaun Jackson.
In that sense,
what? I give you the but you gotta remember, Deshaun Jackson still has the most.
And I was
60 plus.
I was watching Amari Cooper's highlights, and a lot of his catches are comeback routes and hitches.
Which is a skill. Because my quarterback is on right now, and that's all I run. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
It's a skill. Look, to be there, do that comeback route, and try to make something, then that is a skill.
Sideline, nickel and diamond, and then I take you over the top.
Like, am I going to take a dude who's going to do hitch routes, or a dude who I'm going to give like a little into wait, has the speed to sit there, wait for these blockers to come in, and I'm going to zoom past everybody, get a touchdown before the half. When we need a touchdown right now, I'm going to take the little dude. I'm going to take Cheetah. I'm going to take Cheetah on this one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to y'all. I didn't think Amari Cooper should have made the top. He didn't make my top 10 list. He wasn't
my top 10.
Tyreek Hill was there first, and then I moved to Amari, but I'm going to go back.
I like Amari Cooper, but I think what CJ said, it harped on. I believe it was Stephon Diggs. Is that the game where Dallas was like embarrassed? I think it was the Patriots that embarrassed Dallas. And I think Amari Cooper had 1 or 0 catches. But he was locked up with Stephon Diggs, and it showed. Gilmore, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was. Stephon Gilmore.
He didn't show up against those good quarterbacks.
And when we were supposed to have the argument, we will have this argument one day about Julio versus Megatron, who you got. And the first thing that I did when I went to go research that was I grabbed the best 10 corners of the decade, and I wanted to see the matchups against them. And I'm afraid when I do that with Amari Cooper,
Nothing.
it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great. I think
But when you play,
Dak had a better has better chemistry with
Gallup.
Gallup.
Yes, he has better chemistry with Gallup, which goes a long way to me when it comes to how good you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Amari Cooper's never wowed me in a sense where he's doing something spectacular. I mean, don't get me wrong; those sideline catches are amazing.
Yeah.
But he's not wowing me from a number one receiver standpoint. To me, I feel like his number one receiver spot is always up to jeopardy on his teams, and that to me proves that you're not elite. You're good, but you're not elite. I think Tyreek Hill is elite.
Yeah, he is. Especially with like Amari Cooper, he has a lot of talent. But when it's like what I always say about a lot of rookies, he's great when you ain't got film on him. But when you do, they gonna lock you up. Now we got film on you. We know what you like to do. We know your tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
We know that when you shallow off to the left, you like to do your little in or your little post route. Mm-hmm. Now that we got that, what you gonna do? And the first time when he went over to the Cowboys, great. He was great. Showed up. But when that next year, when it was against like a Jalen Ramsey or Stephon Gilmore, it was nothing there.
For me, I think on the flip side of the coin is when you're playing with greatness too, everything looks easier. Mm-hmm. So we talk about how Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. I seen that in the comments. Like, that's not fair. You're playing with arguably we're seeing greatness in front of our eyes. We might be talking about the greatest quarterback to ever play the game as well, and his abilities to get people open. He poses up as much of a threat as Cheetah does too. And then on the other side, you got Sammy Watkins, and then you got the third deep speed demon in Harvard. Like, they have, and Kelsey. So they got options all over the field to throw the ball to.
I think with
Dak
led the league
in passing yards, bro.
He did lead the league in passing yards.
So he was putting it up there, throwing the ball. Yeah.
But how many touchdowns he had?
I hear you on that point.
You know what I'm saying? That's my whole thing. Like, how much of that converts into points? Yeah. And I think a lot of that also is Dak. But I do think that when we talk about a pure threat, I'm going with Tyreek Hill, bro, because he can beat you on a slant. He can beat you on a slant. He can beat you on a screen. He can beat you on a 10 and out. He can beat you on a fly route.
And here's the part that no one talks about.
Yeah,
he's strong.
He's a great route runner.
I've watched multiple times where Patrick Mahomes has just thrown it up to him and he jumps over two guys to go get the ball. I've never seen Amari Cooper jump over anyone. Yep. He's taller. I've never seen him just straight house somebody. I've seen Tyreek Hill moss people. You can throw him open. You don't have to throw him open. He can still make a play. You can throw it to him on a line of scrimmage and he may run all the way downfield. Mm-hmm. Even when it comes to blocking. Or just team spirit. You make LaShawn McCoy makes a play on a 20 and goes upfield for 80 yards. Tyreek Hill is catching him before he gets to the end zone.
Yeah, high five.
He's high fiving the receivers.
That was Damien Williams.
Whoever.
Either way, he's on the other side of the field.
Catch 32-year-old.
Jokes on you. High five.
Right? So, like, I think the dynamics with him, the only thing that, and we'll see how the conversation goes when he gets to that rank, the only thing that stops him from being one of the best, top 1, 2, or 3 guys is something that he has no control over, and that's his height. But when you think about it, if he continues to put the years that he's put in, you start looking at Steve Smith, who was short, but when you think about his time, he's top 5.
I've seen Tyreek Hill get popped. I've seen Tyreek Hill get popped.
And
get up,
and
still taunt and everything. He got high energy. I like Tyreek.
And I like guys that talk smack and back it up. As much as I like guys that talk smack and get violated, so I can back up, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I remember 2 years ago, Tyreek Hill came in the league with rookie quarterback Patrick Mahomes. I think rookie quarterback. He started one game. Right, he had started one game. This is the year before he was named the starter. In that offseason, he started one game for Kansas City right before they made the playoffs, and they lost in the playoffs. Before the season started, Tyreek Hill said we got the best offense in the league.
That's right.
Over the last 2 years, 1 year in the regular season, they proved it. And last year they won it all.
That dude's bad. That's a bad man. He's low-key strong, too. I've seen cornerbacks or defenders have the ball in their hand. And he'll go and just
take
yank
it
that.
from him. It's
Like he's Julio Jones. Bro, he's 5'8".
I know my favorite receivers because of my stature: Deshaun Jackson, Steve Smith. So even I really like Cole Beasley. So I look at guys like this. I ain't put Cole Beasley on the list, but I really do like Cole Beasley.
He low key like Wes Welker.
I think
he got that it factor. Man.
You do.
That it factor.
You know where he is. You know he's gonna get
exactly. Exactly. You know what it is.
You know what route he's gonna run. Is your safety far enough to defend this right now? Because you know he's gonna run this fly.
I don't think it's really no need to vote. We all really got Tyreek Hill here.
Let's do it just for the sake of it. Tyreek Hill right hand. Who is this on the other side? See,
Amari
that's how good it is. Amari Cooper on the left. 1, 2, 3. All right, Tyreek Hill is
representing the little dude.
In our last 2-3 matchup, back into the top bracket. Well, I don't want to call it the top bracket because Bob will lose his mind. But just
the North bracket.
The North bracket. The North and this is going to be fun. You got Chris Godwin at the 2 seed. Chris Godwin at the 2 seed versus Keenan Allen in the 3 seed.
Keenan Allen, small cell 116. Keenan Allen versus Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin had a godlike season last year.
Word.
I don't know if anybody was looking for it, if anybody saw it coming.
I did. I picked him up in fantasy. People thought I was crazy. Him and Austin Eckler. It was like, you're crazy, bro.
You learned Austin Eckler from me.
9 touchdowns, 1,333 yards, 15.5 average yards per catch. 71 was his longest reception. So,
and here's the thing about him: he just kept going. Like it continued. It wasn't like, oh, and this is what with Mike Evans. Even with Mike Evans, to me, he had an under year when it comes to the amount of catches. He had a good year in yards, but catches wise, I don't think Mike Evans was that great. But he had a stretch where he wilded out against the Giants and he wilded out against a couple other teams. Chris Godwin was consistent all the way through the season. Regardless if Jameis was good or bad, Chris Godwin was racking up fantasy numbers, racking up yards, racking up catches. And we're talking about a guy he's about to play Julian Edelman, about to play Wes Welker.
He's better than those guys. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Yeah, potentially better.
Ain't no potential. He's better than right now.
I'm not going to say he's better than those guys.
He's a real receiver. That's what I said, bro.
That's not fair, bro.
And I said he's more than just.
Because he's about to be doing the same thing with Tom Brady.
I don't think he's gonna play the slot. I can see him outside.
There's no playing the slot with Tom Brady. There's movement. There's matchups.
The only thing I'm saying
is better from inside the numbers, then that's gonna put you.
Here's what I'm saying. Julian Edelman and Wes Welker, they operate best from the slot. If you put them on the outside, they look lost.
Okay.
Right? You can put this dude anyway. Right? That's what I'm saying. He's a true receiver in that sense. Like he can go over the top of people.
Yeah.
He can beat you route running.
And Bruce Arians is not a coach who's going to dink and duck. He's trying to go down. Yeah. He's trying to it's time.
I love me some Chris Godwin, boy. I really do. I think
I need to see one more.
He's a really thorough season.
1,000-yard season from.
I think
Chris Godwin. I think
he has the potential to do it. I think with Tom Brady, he's definitely going to have a 1,000-yard season. He should at least match these numbers, maybe a little bit of a drop off. Set for 1,300, maybe 11. But I do expect like the touchdowns stay around the 8, 9, maybe 10 range. However,
you can make strong arguments for the boy. But we're not talking about no slouch.
I love me some Chris Godwin. However,
we're not talking about no slouch.
There's something to be said, and this is a recurring. This is a recurring theme with us. There's something to be said with being the number one guy and knowing that you're going to get the other team's best, whatever that is, and they're game planning for you. And you've done it for consistent years, so it's not like you're popping on the map. Love me some Chris Godwin. Keenan Allen's a dog. He's a dog. His production is out the roof. 104 catches, 1,100 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That's another day at the office of Keenan Allen. And he is the number one receiver, right? With the old guy who John thinks is going to have a bad year, and Phillip Rivers, who's still a pretty decent quarterback, right? But there's something to be said about being the number one guy, and I'm going with the number one guy.
And we talk about production going into next year without your Phillip Rivers, who is a good quarterback and has put up great numbers throughout his career. You don't know who you're getting the ball from. Tyrod Taylor.
Right.
And Tyrod Taylor, and we talked about game managers, he's a game manager. How does that affect his production? Well, you know in Tampa Bay, you know what they doing. They putting up points.
Tom Brady game manager Drew.
No. Tom Brady, he had stages in his career where he was a game manager. He's no longer a game manager. We talk about last. If you win with
last year, he was a game manager. Last year, he was a game manager.
Oh, I had to throw the ball to.
Right.
Who I had to throw the ball to? I had to game manager. I don't think that Tom Brady's going to game manage this year, and he has options.
I don't think he'll game manager.
He has options this year to throw the ball to. And with that being said, I'm going to go with Godwin because I feel like his numbers are going to be better than Keenan Allen's next year. Just off the strip. Once again, the Brady effect. It's a Brady effect, bro. So,
he's going to turn to David Patton.
He's going to turn into us.
David Gibbons, sorry.
Or he's going to turn into
Deion Branch. I just.
And then Deion Branch.
Okay.
Deion Branch had great numbers at one point in his career.
He ain't having 86 catches, 113 yards, and 9 touchdowns.
Shoot. So, Keenan Allen, that dude is a star, bro.
He just wants to play ball.
Keenan Allen is a star. He's a route runner. He's an over-the-top guy. He gets your best coverage. The number 2 receiver on that team, the fall goes from 104 receptions to 50-something. I think Mike Williams had like 40 or 50-something receptions. So, Philip Rivers is throwing to the backs and the Keenan Allen. He's throwing to the backs of Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen, regardless of the coverage, he's playing in the division over the last 3 years. He's gone almost 1,400 yards, almost 1,200 yards, and it was 1 yard away from 1,200 yards.
Another day at the office for him.
Another day at the office for him, and you got to remember, this is the division over the last 3 years we've had. The division itself has had some of the best corners.
Mm-hmm.
When we think about with
Broncos.
what the Broncos has had over in the past.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about with not Oakland, but I don't know. I take that statement back. They haven't had the best corners, but he's played against some really good talent, and he showed up against that talent as well.
Plus his energy is crazy.
I think what John said is important. I don't think Keenan Allen's going to have a bad year at all.
David Roman said something. He said, "I wonder how you would feel if Cam Newton was his quarterback. Will he still be good?" Hey, he's right.
Cam goes over there.
Yeah, he's right.
We be drunk. We don't know right now.
Hey.
I know.
It would be interesting because Cam, it would be perfect for both of them. Cam would finally be in a situation where he actually had receivers. You know, this is not a situation where Cam has to create the space for them. Keenan Allen's going to create his own space. I've actually watched Keenan Allen workouts. I watched some of his workouts off the field, and you can tell that he knows how to create space. And some of the drills that he does with his feet, with his body. I think he follows a lot of the Marvin Harrison way of being able to turn your upper body without turning your lower body. And Marvin Harrison's so good. He's an average looking.
Even like off the line for a go route. Do you see?
So
for a go route,
I just at the same time because I'm unsure who's throwing to him. Because I'm unsure of what that team's dynamic is going to be like, because I'm unsure of that, I'm going to take Chris Godwin because I'm more sure that the offense is going to be intact over in Tampa Bay. So it would be more of a surprise if Chris Godwin didn't improve on those numbers from last year, whereas it wouldn't be a surprise if Keenan Allen didn't improve on those numbers from last year.
Here's my thing. We've seen players in the NFL have 1 or 2 good years, and then the NFL figure them out, right? Mm-hmm. Keenan Allen is not that, right? So when y'all saying, you expect him to do, I'm like, I've seen Peyton Hillis be on the cover of Madden one year and then drop off the face of the earth the next. Not saying he's Peyton Hillis, but like just saying, put that into perspective when you talk about what you think could happen next year.
What I'm putting over that in my perspective is that I have no idea who's going to be
fair. That's fair.
Don't know.
And if it's a rookie, I'm not going to expect him to do better than the guy who has the best quarterback of all time.
Okay.
Joe Burrow's going to.
I think it's time for the
Right.
All right, y'all. So here's the question that I want to pose to y'all. We're losing a little bit of bandwidth right now, starting to freeze up a little bit. We did the first round. We did the whole first round. That leaves us with 8 names. I think y'all want to jump back into this next week and do the whole. Y'all want to just run it down right now. It's probably gonna take us about another 45 to an hour.
Give people what they want next week.
Have
them come back.
Have them come back. So, really quickly, I just want to give y'all what the list is right now next week. So, if y'all want to join in, on the argument, man, we have
episode 3.
next week is going to be Chris Godwin versus Michael Thomas.
Godwin, Michael Thomas. Wait, what? How we doing? What?
Sorry. What? Sorry. What? So, right hand, I'm sorry, Rob. Right hand, Chris Godwin, who's in the 2 seed. Keenan Allen, who's in the 3 seed. This may not go the way I thought it was in my mind. So, we're going to vote really quickly again. Chris Godwin, right hand. Keenan Allen, left hand. 1, 2, 3.
You got a tie.
We need some help, people out there.
As we go down to the lowest amount of viewers that we've had so far this show.
We got one loyal viewer.
So we got
Jordan
whoever's
on Instagram.
Right now, anybody that's on Instagram, we're going to give y'all 2 minutes. We're going to make our arguments a little bit longer. We're making a vote for Keenan Allen or Chris Godwin. Right now, we have David Roman with Godwin.
We got
That's 1.
Jordan Nobles with Godwin.
That's 2 for Godwin over Keenan Allen. CJ, talk to me more about why you're choosing.
Why you got Keenan Allen?
Keenan Allen while we wait. Again, right now, everybody's voting if you're on
a little bit delayed right now.
For me, every team knows who's getting the. There's no Antonio Gates. What's his name?
Hunter Henry.
He's okay.
Mike Williams. Melvin Gordon.
How many receptions did Mike Williams have last year?
I don't know. It's something.
Yeah. We all know who's getting the ball every time you go against the Chargers. It's going to be Keenan Allen. We know. With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you got Mike Evans, and you got Chris Godwin, and you also got
O.J. Howard.
Cameron Brake. You got a whole bunch of
dudes. And you got Tom Brady, who don't care who he throwing the ball to.
Yeah, you got and plus Chris Godwin is going to be running them little drag routes. Mm-hmm. But Keenan Allen, them deep in routes. I'm watching highlights right now. He kills dudes off the line without even touching them. His one little jab step outside, straight up, he's alone, by himself. Chris Godwin, I don't think he can get the same amount of separation with that Keenan Allen can get. Plus, he plays the outside. You can put Keenan Allen wherever you want. Can you stop him? That's the question. Can you stop Keenan Allen?
And he get the number one.
He's getting the ball.
It'll be a little bit more fair to the Chargers offense to say that offense was more than just Keenan Allen 2 years ago and last year.
Melvin Gordon didn't play the way he was
supposed to. But Austin Eckler signed a contract because throwing him the ball 10 to 12 times out the backfield every game. Whether Melvin Gordon was in the lineup or not. Whether Melvin Gordon was in the lineup or not. So yes, that brings your linebackers and your safeties down to have to take over for this guy who get the same amount of yards.
But who are you going to put Jalen Ramsey on? You going to put him on Austin Eckler?
You can go put him on Keenan Allen.
But when you put him against Tampa Bay, Jalen Ramsey's going on Mike Evans.
So what I'm trying to tell you, CJ, is with the overturn of that team, like you just said, there's no more Melvin Gordon. Austin Eckler was a backup who just got signed to starters money. We don't. The tight end is never really healthy, so we don't know what to expect out of Hunter. Mike Evans, yeah, you can throw him jump balls all day and he'll embarrass somebody once or twice a game. That's about the amount of catches he's going to get for you for the whole game. So you don't know what you're going to get from Mike Evans. They have a new quarterback. It's just too many question marks for me to think that Keenan Allen's season is going to be better than Chris Godwin. And that's not to say that I'm 100% confident in this. This is the toughest one for me. This is definitely the toughest one for me because this is definitely a guy that can say make everybody eat their words and still put up 1,200 yards and 100 plus catches because he's that good. But sometimes it don't matter how good you are a receiver. Ask Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson who's had to catch for. Allen Robinson's had to catch for Mitchell Trubisky and
Gardner Minshew.
No, before Gardner Minshew, who was the bum?
Blake
Bortles. Who knows what Allen Robinson's career could look like if he actually had an accurate quarterback? So you don't know what you're gonna get from. You don't know what you're gonna get from the Chargers, and that's why I'm choosing Chris Godwin.
I know what I'm gonna get from Keenan.
So far, we got two Godwins. We got anybody, Rob, up there that voted for?
I think the 2-minute warning has about 2 seconds left, and right now we have Chris Godwin advancing.
Chris Godwin advancing. All right, y'all.
Let's score 3-0.
All right, let's score 3-0.
13 to the people like Chris Godwin.
All right, people like Godwin. So next week we're gonna stop the list here, get a little bit of anticipation, so you can come prepared for who's going against who. Next week we have Mike Thomas versus Chris Godwin. So Mike Thomas from the Saints versus Chris Godwin from National Division matchup. We have this is to me one of the marquee ones with DeAndre Hopkins versus Odell Beckham. And then we have Devontae Adams and Mike Evans.
I mean, Tyreek Hill and Julio.
It's Tyreek Hill and Julio. So Tyreek Hill versus Julio. Hopkins
not
versus
fair.
Odell. Evans versus Adams.
None of these is fair.
Yeah.
No Antonio Brown on this list?
No,
he's not. We don't know if he's even playing, bro.
So
yeah.
Real quick, want to shout out the receivers that did not make the top 16, but was actually on people's top 10s list. So shout out to T.Y. Hilton. Devontae Parker made someone's list. Sammy Watkins made someone's list. Antonio Brown got 2 votes. Hollywood Brown got a vote. Julian Edelman got a vote. Cooper Kupp got a vote. I think Julian Edelman and Cooper Kupp were 2 guys that were like right on the outside of the 16 looking in. And shout out to the boy DK Metcalf, who got 3 votes, was right outside of being voted into the show. And of course, he would have lost in the first round, but it would have been fun to talk about DK Metcalf because when you think about those like top 3 guys, build-wise,
like them. And
speed, build, hands.
He built like Calvin
Johnson.
Man. You got to work on his feet, though.
Sound like the next Julio Jones.
No.
The next
Calvin Johnson.
Or the next Mike Thomas. He's probably faster than Mike Thomas.
He's not the next Julio Jones.
So we're gonna reach back out to you on that. David,
Baker.
It's great to be on with you. I'm glad we made your day today. We'll be back next week, y'all. We'll solidify time. We'll be doing a lot more promoing. So
like and subscribe.
Do a lot more liking and subscribing. We'll promo for no reason.
Like and subscribe, dude.
Because I'm home don't mean I ain't got nothing to do.
Sir. Go Falcons. Kansas Jayhawks. Just the Rob update. This is what it's doing. We done. It's roll credits time, baby. Roll credits. Kansas Jayhawks were ranked number 1. This how you know who the editor is. But Kansas Jayhawks ranked number 1 to finish off the college basketball. Although we're not crowned the national champions, I'm going to take this as a consolation prize because at the end of the year, whoever wins national championship is ranked number 1. So just they are. When UConn won the national championship, they was ranked number 1. What champion not ranked number 1?
I want to see some. You say after they were champions.
I'm saying like the final poll after the whole season's done, champion number 1.
And then they do a tournament, and the number 1 seed never wins.
But here's what I'm saying. After that tournament, they do another poll, which is the final poll, and the champion is number 1. That's what I'm trying to say.
Nah, I don't get you, bro.
You get exactly what I'm saying. Kansas Jayhawks, Rock Jayhawks,
Punch the people in the face. Punch your fans in the face.
That's it.
Why you hanging up there?
You done? I'm rolling credits.
When you see them boys coming through the town, also the UConn Brothers Barbecue.
Actually, the whole big